Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Loop Energy's February Investor Webinar. Joining me today is our President and CEO, Ben Nyland, and our CFO, Damian Towns. Our webinar will begin following our forward-looking statement. I would like to remind our listeners that our comments and answers to your questions today may contain forward-looking information. Please refer to the current slide that is shown. Forward-looking information by its nature is subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause stated outcomes to differ materially from the actual outcome. Certain material factors or assumptions were applied in drawing the conclusions or making the forecasts or projections which are included in forward-looking information. Listeners are warned not to place undue reliance on forward-looking statements. Please refer to our Q3 2021 MD&A and financial statements and to our 2020 Annual Information Form and Annual MD&A and financial statements for more information. I would also like to caution our listeners that any projections provided today regarding Loop's future financial performance are effective as of today's date. It is our policy not to comment on or update this guidance between quarters. We will also not be commenting on our 2021 results in this webinar and will do so on our Q4 earnings call. I would now like to turn the call over to our host, Vivian, and Loop's President and CEO, Mr. Ben Nyland, for his comments, followed by a Q&A period.
As he said, I'm Vivian Parry. I'm a science writer and broadcaster, and I'm delighted to be able to host this Loop Energy's February Investor Seminar. So why are we all here? Well, we know that most developed countries have made hydrogen a key element of their net zero plans. Industry forecasts suggest hydrogen could grow from 2% of the global energy mix to up to 24% by 2050. Now, for the commercial vehicle sector, hydrogen fuel cells are particularly important. That's because electric batteries don't give heavy trucks, buses, and other commercial vehicles enough range. Hydrogen fuel cells are vital to extending that range. Now, you might think that established hydrogen fuel cell providers like Plug Power and Ballard have first mover advantage in the hydrogen economy. But Loop Energy feels its next mover advantage might prove to be the winning strategy. Its patented eFlow technology, with its leading fuel efficiency, power density, and durability, is gaining momentum and credibility, and it certainly deserves a closer look. So let me introduce Ben Nyland, Loop Energy's President and CEO, to tell you all about it and put the investment case. Ben.
Thank you, Vivian. It's great to be here.
So tell us all about it.
I'd love to. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the market context that we're operating in, because it's driving so much of the activity that we're seeing in our business. I'm convinced that this is the decade of hydrogen, the decade that hydrogen and fuel cells penetrate the mainstream and establish substantial and sustainable market share as we move away from internal combustion engines and carbon-producing power sources. Countries around the world are developing and deploying hydrogen strategies. Regulators are putting in place emissions targets and requirements. Vehicle manufacturers and fleet operators alike are committed to finding a way to zero emissions, and we are seeing an abundance of battery electric offerings in the commercial vehicle space as a result. But unlike consumer vehicles, where Tesla has proven that the lion's share of consumer needs can be met by battery vehicles, commercial applications need to travel farther, carry more cargo, and refuel faster than battery technology alone can accomplish. Now, we're seeing an alignment of fleet operators and commercial vehicle manufacturers recognizing that fuel cells are essential to zeroing the emissions of the world's fleets. We saw this first in China a few years ago, then in Europe during COVID, and now we're starting to see this transition in North America. This is why Loop has a laser focus on the commercial vehicle market. That's buses and medium and heavy duty return to base trucks. Industry estimates put our total addressable market today at $1 billion annually, which means that we can build a strong, viable business even without additional market growth. But the commercial vehicle market for Loop's products is projected to grow to more than $30 billion by the year 2030. Clearly a phenomenal growth opportunity. As we look forward to 2022 and beyond, we are building on the solid foundation that we established in 2021. Over the last year, we have broadened our customer base, proven out our products, and grown our team. Our customers are seeing us deliver class-leading products, fast and high-quality integrations, and confidence-inspiring customer support. It's because of our successes and the response of our customers that we are more confident than ever that Loop is ideally positioned to lead the field as fuel cells go mainstream in commercial vehicles. Once we have established this strong beachhead, we plan to move from strength to strength, expanding our total addressable market beyond the $30 billion commercial vehicle market and into an excess of $50 billion, encompassing a breadth of power applications. The timing is exceptional as capital flows into zero-emission applications around the world and major fleets focus their efforts on establishing a path to zero emissions. We feel Loop is inextricably linked to the accomplishment of net zero 2050. And we're excited that the momentum and change is starting right now.
I think that's a great overview there, that you've given us such a good view of the big picture. I want to get into some of the detail now. And I know that Loop has worked particularly hard on its customer adoption cycle. So Chief Commercial Officer George Rubin, let's hear more from you about that now, how it works, why it's having such a big impact on numbers. Here's George.
Well, thank you all for having me here. Very excited to talk to you about our growth plans for 2022. Let's first take a step back and take a look at where we're coming from. 2021 was the year of setting the foundation for growth. In 2021, we kicked off active sales efforts in our core markets in China and European Union. We also opened new markets such as South Korea and Russia. Our customers are vehicle and power generation equipment manufacturers. These customers tend to follow a product adoption and commercialization cycle that we often refer to as a 1-10-100. What that means is that they would typically start with development of a pilot vehicle or a power generation system. And this development would typically be in fairly low volumes of units. It's designed to go through testing, certification, and initial demonstrations of these vehicles to their own prospective customers. Once that is complete, the customers would then move to a larger volume scale up and ultimately full commercial rollout phase of development. In 2021, we set an objective of adding 10 customers to our pilot phase of the customer adoption cycle. We have accomplished that successfully. Now, heading into 2022, we're looking to build on that. At the end of 21, we had one customer that already moved to the scale-up phase, and in 2022, we expect to see more of that, as well as to grow our customer base altogether. Our goal is to aim for a 3x year-over-year growth in terms of numbers of units from 21 to 22 and from 22 to 2023. To do this, we have a very detailed execution plan, and there's a number of key elements to that. And the first one is focus. When we talk about focus, we talk about focus on a market application, and in particular on commercial mobility, that we believe is the primary application that would allow us to execute on our growth trajectory. We picked commercial mobility because it checks every box on the list of requirements for the growth that we want in the mid and long term as the industry matures, but also during the near term, when hydrogen fuel cell industry is still in the nascent stage of this development. Commercial mobility has a large number of OEMs with electrified platforms. Now, what that means is that it gives us a large customer audience and a relatively low technical barrier to entry. In commercial mobility, most vehicles operate in the fleets that come back to base at the end of the working day. What that means is it creates a strong business case for hydrogen and creates a low dependence on hydrogen fueling infrastructure availability. Commercial mobility is a market that is already over $1 billion in terms of total addressable market size, and it will get bigger. but it is also unique in the sense that the products we develop to deliver the types of features, advantages, benefits that commercial mobility customers require can apply, and these benefits can be leveraged into a number of smaller adjacent markets that, particularly during the near term, can enable us to aggregate demand faster, build economies of scale, and ultimately advance forward on the path of cost reduction that is equally important to the growth of the industry and Loop as a company overall. So when we look at our product portfolio today, it has been engineered to deliver unique value to OEM customers and ultimately their customers, fleet operators, in applications ranging from urban delivery with light commercial vehicles to public transit with transit buses, intercity buses, coach buses, and a longer haul logistics with medium and heavy duty trucks. But at the same time, we're able to take our products and apply them to address the needs of customers in applications such as port equipment, rubber tire gantry cranes, terminal tractors, specialty vehicles such as concrete mixers or garbage trucks, and even an emerging market of fuel cell-based mobile gensets used for things like powering electrified equipment on construction sites or even providing charging stations for electric vehicles. Over the course of 2021, we've established very solid traction in the public transit space. Just in 12 months, we developed OEM customer relationships and launched products in transit buses in Korea, in Russia, in Eastern Europe, as well as in China. We're also gaining significant traction with the truck manufacturing OEMs, but at the same time, our product portfolio has positioned us to deliver benefits and gain the trust and acceptance with the customers in port equipment, mobile gensets, and specialty vehicles. With that said, the other element of the plan, and it is equally as important, is getting in front of an ever greater audience of target customers and industry participants. In 2021, we laid the foundation by establishing critical relationships with early adopter customers that are now taking on a mission and delivering the story of the benefits of Loop products to their respective industries. But we need to grow this audience and we need to magnify this message. Last year, we presented in 3 different trade shows in front of roughly 20,000 people on a cumulative basis. This year, we will increase the size of this audience by more than 20-fold, and you're going to see Loop products presented in close to 20 different trade show and conference events. It's with this greater exposure to the target audience, with continuous delivery of benefits of superior products, and the support of the customers in the key markets that we expect to execute on our aggressive growth trajectory. Thank you very much, and looking forward to updating you on how we do through 2022 as it rolls along.
Well, thanks, George. And I've got a big smile on my face because this hydrogen economy future is such an exciting one. So, Ben, we've got a better idea now of how the commercial team is planning to fuel Loop's growth. But is there anything or any couple of particular things that you'd like to pull out from that overall presentation?
Well, Vivian, first of all, I have to say the work that George has done over the last year is frankly amazing in terms of setting the foundation. And last year, we established 1-10-100, our customer adoption cycle, and that has reaped rewards last year, and it continues to reap rewards. We will continue to work on that. But I think what I really want to draw attention to here is you can see we were so successful last year, and that effort is accelerating this year. And so we expect to have continued results. As George said, we expect a 3x in units this year and another 3x next year versus 2021. And we see the customers continually being added to that funnel. And so as we increase our exposure, as we increase the work we're doing around the world, we're going to see more and more customers coming on board.
That's terrific. Thanks so much. Now, we know that as a technology business, ongoing development and evolution is key to your customers and to your commercial success, of course. So now seems like a good time to introduce Chief Operating Officer Daryl Musselman and Chief Scientific Officer Sean McKinnon. They're going to take us through the coming year from a tech and, of course, operations perspective. So let's hear from them now.
Thank you, Vivian. I'd like to talk you through how Loop is expanding its global footprint this year, how we are continuously improving our current commercial products for higher performance and lower costs, and finally, about our exciting new product developments that we believe will allow us to maintain a technology leadership position into the future. Firstly, our expanding global footprint for service and support. As we expand our customer base around the world, it is important that we stay close to our customers so that we can minimize delays related to shipping or travel or simply time zone differences. As you know, we're headquartered in the Vancouver area, which gives us great access to fuel cell expertise. But we're seeing strong market pull from areas in Asia and Europe. So in 2021, we built up a new facility in China that includes both manufacturing and service and support. And in 2022, we plan to follow that up with a physical presence in Europe, beginning with a focus on integration support and fleet operation maintenance and service. At the same time, we are installing new semi-automated production equipment and dedicated production test stations that will debottleneck our operations and allow us to produce products at our main facility in Canada at medium volume and high quality. Next, our product development and testing groups are working closely with our technology development group to continuously improve our current commercial products. We're focused on improving reliability and durability of our products for our customers and on reducing the total cost of ownership. Our supply chain team works with the engineering group to make strategic make versus buy decisions, qualify suppliers, and investigate opportunities for improvement. Sean's team contributes to this effort with material investigations and by keeping a close eye in general on advancements in the industry as a whole, including things that specifically apply to eFlow technology.
That's right, Daryl. Within technology development, we continuously assess the marketplace for new materials and what we can use to advance our eFlow technology. Some of you may be asking, what is eFlow technology? To answer that question, we need to first address an inherent challenge that the fuel cell operation has specifically. Fuel cells do not produce power uniformly across the entire cell area. The inlet area of most fuel cells produce much more power than the outlet areas do, with a lot of commercial products ranging from 40 to 100% variation. Loop's patented eFlow designs provides an increase in gas velocity within the stack, and that manipulates the flow of air and hydrogen and helps get rid of our product water. Because our designs produce much more power uniformly across the entire cell, we can now effectively use the platinum and the membrane, the expensive components, in a much more efficient fashion. Why is this important commercially? Well, producing power in a uniform manner utilizes all those expensive components in a much more uniform way and enables Loop to provide options to our customers. Namely, we can provide more efficient stacks to reduce operational expenses, or we can produce more powerful stacks with the same amount of expensive components. Also, if we do choose to, we could provide equally powerful stacks with a reduced amount of those expensive components. This provides Loops with options to deliver the best total cost of ownership to our customers, depending on what their application is.
Yes, so one of our most exciting developments is the physical scale-up of our eFlow technology into a larger plate design that the team at Loop has been developing recently. We expect that this new technology will not only scale up the size of the plate while maintaining the performance advantages of the eFlow concept, but may actually improve the performance beyond our current commercial product levels. We expect that our first product with this new plate design will be capable of producing 120 kilowatts of power from a single fuel cell stack, making this technology well suited for the larger heavy-duty commercial markets, as well as offering opportunities for cost reduction in the future for smaller product ranges. Speaking of cost reduction, we're installing the equipment, the human resources, and the systems necessary to achieve high efficiency in our facilities both in Burnaby and in Shanghai. We're working closely with our supply chain to reduce our material costs as we increase our volumes, and in our own facilities, we are planning to increase production capacity from 100 to 400 engines in the year end and beyond 1,000 by the end of next year. Of course, there's a lot more than that going on too. Sean, can you explain to Vivian your focus for this year?
Absolutely. We are not currently doing primary research. We're focused on development projects that we expect will improve the total cost of ownership for all of our customers' applications. This has always been core to Loop and remains our focus. The key goal is to make our customers more competitive against incumbent diesel applications. And the real trick is to do this in low volumes, which will facilitate adoption and achieve profitability as soon as possible. which is why the tech team has a laser-tight focus. For instance, we're engaged in an effort to directly reduce the cost of our stack components. We're also looking to lower stack build times, which will support the scaling up of our capacity. Given the stage of the technology, and indeed our company, we are convinced this is the right thing to be focused on, and it's critical to creating a bigger market.
That's great, Sean, and it's really helpful to us. We know you're also looking at things in longer term in the future. Maybe you can tell Vivian how you're looking at how eFlow applies in the electrolyzer space.
Sure, no problem. We also believe that there is tremendous opportunity in the hydrogen production segment of the market. With this in mind, Loop has launched several projects aimed at verifying how the fluid flow and thermal management innovations within our PEM fuel cell designs may also offer benefits to PEM electrolyzer efficiency and function. As the value proposition is further clarified in 2022, we will consider what options may be most beneficial for Loop in terms of commercialization. This would ultimately lead and allow Loop to participate in the full cycle of the hydrogen market, hydrogen production and hydrogen use. Well, I think that's all from us. Back to you, Vivian.
Well, I think you're a great double act, you two. And actually, thank you too for explaining the tech there so simply. That was really, really helpful. And it sounds like the next 10 months are going to be fantastically busy for you all. So Ben, can I ask you to bring this all together so that we can understand what's happening across the piece in 2022. And I've also got, as you can see, Damien Towns is a CFO with us too. But let's start with you, Ben, on this.
Absolutely, Vivian. Thank you very much. And there was a lot of content in those videos. There's a lot that we're going to be working on over the next year. At a high level, there are some key initiatives that we are really focused on intensely. George mentioned growing our deployed units by 3 times this year and then 3 times the next year, leveraging our customer adoption cycle of 110, 100, and the industry growth and momentum to start our rapid scale up over the coming year. So this is one of the critical pieces that we have. We need to grow as a company and we're intensely focused on. And so we'll be letting shareholders know how we're doing against that particular metric throughout the year, just as we did last year with our 110, 100 progress. We're also going to be focused on reducing the cost of our products. But even more importantly, we're going to be focused on the total cost of ownership for our customers. Capital cost of our fuel cells is one component, but as we get to know our customers more and more over the coming years, we'll learn more about how these products are used and how we can make changes to them to influence the total cost of ownership and make fuel cell and hydrogen technologies even more accessible for the broader market. And finally, we'll be rounding out our product line, bringing larger systems to market, as Daryl talked about, so that we can access coach buses and heavy duty trucks. Our 120 kilowatt fuel cell stack product is timed to come out at the end of this year. We're very excited about that. And then to make sure we're staying on top of things and keeping our customers taken care of, we'll continue to build capacity intelligently around the world. We'll be incorporating automation in our manufacturing processes, and we'll also be expanding the facilities that we already have in Vancouver and in China.
That's a really good overview. Thank you so much. But Damien, it's now over to you, because what I want you to do is take us through the investment fundamentals.
Thanks, Vivian. And thank you to everyone who is listening today and perhaps hearing about the Loop story for the first time. We remain very upbeat about the market opportunity for fuel cells in the future, with industry estimates pointing towards a total accessible market of US $50 billion in 2030. Notwithstanding, we believe a US $1 billion market exists today for electrified platforms and the applications that Loop are targeting. This existing market is expected to easily support our future growth plans that George outlined for several years. Our ability to reach break-even point from a production perspective will be part dictated by the success of our go-to-market strategy. Market consensus is that we will be facing a declining price per kilowatt from around $1,000 US per kilowatt today, based on the scale of volumes being sold. The expectation of a declining price for electrified platforms is built on the premise that as the industry matures, it needs to become more increasingly competitive with the incumbent players, such as the diesel combustion engine. Our customer adoption cycle helps ensure that we are identifying customers that we believe can reach scale, which is a major factor in our cost out strategy and will drive us towards break even. Daryl and Sean earlier in the webinar also outlined a number of initiatives, such as our 120 kilowatt product and enlarged bipolar plate, which we also expect will play a major role in our cost out strategy. As a growth company that has just started on our road to commercialization, our capital requirements will be dictated by the success of our go-to-market strategy, supporting our customers, and building out capacity to meet future demand. As reported in January 2022, we delivered against our 2021 objectives, and we anticipate being able to do so again in 2022. How successful we are in this endeavor will dictate when we will need to raise additional capital. We completed our TSX listing in February 2021 and raised proceeds of 100 million Canadian at $16 per share. Our 52-week share price range is $2.64 to $17.49, and on yesterday we closed at $2.90. As of September 30th, 2021, we had 78 million in cash and 33.6 million shares outstanding. This gives us a market capitalization of approximately 100 million and an enterprise value of less than 25 million based on our cash in hand as of September 30th. Vivian, back to you.
Thanks so much for that. We've got a couple of questions. We're near our closing time, but would you mind taking a couple of questions? Happy?
Be happy to, Vivian.
Great stuff. Here's one. What do you see as possible roadblocks to achieving the objectives that you've just set out for Loop?
That is a great question, Vivian. And I have to say that a lot of the work that we did in 2021 was designed precisely to address the sorts of roadblocks that we would anticipate. We've talked today about moving into the market, growing our customer base, broadening that customer base, our 110, 100, which helps us really understand the needs and the scaling requirements of our customers so that we can anticipate capacity and personnel issues. And so as a growth company, we face many of the same obstacles that most growth companies would face. Access to good people, growing our customer base, growing with the market. But we've anticipated that, we've added to our team, and we feel very confident that we've put the right things in place to address the obstacles that are likely to come over the next year.
Now, you've mentioned and you've talked a lot about customers. Are you able to provide a sense of how Loop is being received in the market and what the competitor landscape looks like? We've mentioned, for instance, Ballard.
Absolutely. So there are a handful of independent fuel cell companies in the marketplace, and we run into them with customers. I would have to say we're very excited about the way we are received by the customers in the marketplace. And we're excited by what we're hearing on multiple levels. So as we talked about in the presentations, our technology eFlow gives us certain advantages at the product level, whether it's fuel consumption advantage or power output. These are things that customers recognize are going to give them an advantage in the marketplace when they bring vehicles to market. And so those underlying product advantages are boding really well for us with customers and being received extremely well. But I can also say that the way in which we're servicing our customers is also getting a fantastic response. This is an early industry. Many of these customers don't have experience with fuel cells. They may have very good experience with electric powertrains, but fuel cells are new. And what we're finding is that our approach, our way of dealing with customers is helping them not only feel more comfortable making the decision to go with Loop, but then also making the integration process and the setup of the new vehicle that much easier for them. And that feedback is fantastic to hear, and I believe it stands us in very good stead as we move forward.
Yeah, this is a whole new field for all of us, isn't it? So hand holding is really important. I wanted to know, and this is a question that's been asked by a couple of people, how has the company protected its eFlow technology? And do you believe it will result in a prolonged competitive advantage? I don't know which one of you wants to take that.
Damien, do you want to try that?
Sure. Thanks, Vivian. Loop has over 30 patents surrounding our eFlow technology. We continue to develop the technology. The technology started about 20 years ago, but the evolution of our patents have continued through the different aspects of the eFlow technology, and really puts us in good stead so that people can't simply come and copy the eFlow platform, and really sets us up for future success, in my opinion.
Well, thank you to both of you. And I'm delighted to know that you're both wearing your Sustainable Development Goal pins. I noticed that. It's such an important part and foundation of your business. So that's all we've got time for today. And if you've got any other questions for Loop, or simply want to dig a bit deeper, please visit their website, loopenergy.com, and you'll find lots there about their business, about hydrogen fuel cells, and plenty of investor resources. Thank you again, and thank you for watching.